ending.
Welcome to an episode of Chiefs Focus Live. We've got a full show for you guys. We're going to do a little recap of some of our discussion, some of our conversations we've had about Chiefs Broncos, what we heard, what our thoughts on, especially a couple days after. I've got sort of a hot take, apparently, about the Chiefs wide receiver, and I think there's still some issues there. And then we're just going to wrap it up with just some other small discussions that I think that we have over the Chiefs as a whole. My name is Quentin Morris. We got Diz running the show in the background. And now two guys who could play starting guard for the Chiefs field goal coverage. It's the old man himself, JP, and the guy comes on every once in a while, Philip. What's going on?
What's up? What's up, man? What's up? How you doing, Quentin?
Just dandy. Man, what a game on Sunday that was, and it came down to the field goal block. I've seen a lot of discussion that Kansas City being compared to the Eagles of last year, and just some of these other undefeated teams that we don't really believe that they're undefeated caliber teams. What was it? The Vikings a couple years ago that went like 8-0, 9-0, and everybody knew but that's not a truly undefeated team. So I've seen a lot of comparisons for that, and I'm like, it's just funny that no matter how it happens, everybody, just finds a way to not believe in the Chiefs, despite the fact that they've won back-to-back Super Bowls and they have the best head coach, the best quarterback,
the best defensive coordinator, the best defensive line coach. I mean, we can go on and on.
And so people continue to find a reason to not believe in this team. And I'm like, that's good. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, please, I wish you would
Please doubt us. Keep doubting us.
Yeah. Every time you do that, it just fuels the fire, and that's fine. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew, but the refs actually blocked that field goal. Had nothing.
They did a pretty good job at blocking the field goal. I actually think Patrick Mahomes was.
They did a pretty good job, man.
That's what I think.
Yeah, Mahomes just told the ref. He said, "Hey, can you block that field goal for me? Because come on, man.
If you could throw a flag and that would block if you could throw your flag at the ball as it's being kicked to block the field goal, that'd be fantastic."
Unbelievable play right there. Look at that. Well, here.
Leo Chenal, man.
What a beast. You know what?
Yeah.
I think I told Philip this the other day, or maybe yesterday. I don't remember when it was. I was looking at how that play developed, and I couldn't understand. I was looking at the people that were actually on the line, and I'm thinking, okay, that's not the normal special teams guys. There was a couple of them in there, but it wasn't the normal special teams line, and the way the play developed, it wasn't normal. And I'm thinking, it looked like a fucking blitz. It really looked like a blitz. So I asked a couple of guys, and they said, well, yeah, they kind of teamed up on that, Spags and Tobe. And it was Spags' kind of idea to try to blitz. They practiced it in practice a few times. And they had guys from the defensive line and the linebackers, of course. And it played out exactly the way they wanted it to play out. It was it was a blitz. It was a blitz package is what it was. Look at this and how it plays out. Watch this. I mean,
look at how Leo blasts through there. He blasts through there like Bobby Boucher, bro.
You ain't lying, man. That was look at Mahomes.
Oh
my ankle feels good. I'm gonna run through the field and scream.
Heck yeah.
But if you look at the way that developed, you got Karlaftis in there. He's not normally on that. He's not in the field goal block or in the special team side. Guys that were in there that shouldn't have been there. And that's what threw me off. And I thought, wow, that's fucking crazy. Why is Karlaftis out there? Why is this guy out there? And look at the formation and the way it played out from, start to finish. That was a fucking blitz. And sure as hell, if it wasn't something they've been practicing with the defensive line guys to go on special teams to do something just like that. And they did. Worked out phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And, one of the things that has been talked about is how bad that specific, I don't know what his position would be on field goal coverage. I didn't do field goal, I didn't block for field goals, so I don't know what his specific, but I'm just going to call him the left guard because I think he's not, but that's just what I'm refer to him as.
Yeah.
So that left guard, if you notice it as that is playing, there are a couple things wrong that he does. First of all, his feet don't get wide enough. And then his head is down the whole time. He never lifts his head up, right? And so because he's got his stance is wrong and he's light on his toes, his head never comes down. I mean, it's the perfect combination to just let them bull rush through him because you've got both of those guys coming at him at once to push him over. It's why he ends up on his back, right? And it gives you a perfect opportunity to just come through this guy, and you're able to push him down, and you're able to get to that block. Like, look, even in the picture, you can see he's on his back.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact of the way the Chiefs, the formation was and the way they lined up. He was really lined up for a regular field goal. He wasn't lined up to really block two different guys. And you're right. He didn't ever lift his head. I don't think he had an opportunity to lift his head. He didn't know what was coming at him.
Nope.
And that's what made that play so beautiful. Look, man, we had a lot of issues in that game. Our defense didn't look that great. Bo Nix actually looked really good in that game. As much as it pains me to say it, and I'll probably throw up at the end of the show, he looked good in that game. Yeah. I'm not going to say he didn't. He's developed a lot this year, and I got to give him credit for that because he has. But I mean, McDuffie had a rough day because we know
against
this.
Cortland Sutton. Yeah, man. Against Cortland Sutton. Yeah. Especially that man coverage play where he allowed that touchdown.
Yeah.
I think it was like he was like 3 for 4 and allowed like 30 or 40 yards in that touchdown against Sutton. As I checked the Pro Football Focus coverage matchup stats. Or better yet, I can just look them up right now just to get an idea.
I'm not going to blame McDuffie for that because I think he's taken a lot on. He's trying to do more than his job. He's making up for others' deficiencies. I should put it that way. And it kind of cost him in that game. But they were able to figure it out. You know, they always have something up their sleeve, man. And that block field goal was something up their sleeve. Nobody expected that to happen. I actually put in the DM in the chat, I said, we're going to lose this game. There's no way we win this game.
Yeah. And I was ready to accept it too.
Yeah. And then that happened, and I thought, my God. And look, Quentin, we talked about this, and we thought, last week we talked about this game, and we thought this was going to be one of those. I said it was kind of a trap game, and I got some pushback on that, but it was actually kind of a trap game. We played down to our opponent to some degree, and they played up. And we didn't do what we were supposed to do against a team that really doesn't know us that well. Yeah, they're in our division, but this is a whole new regime, a whole new football team. I think they got one player that was there last year. So I don't know, man. It was the epitome of a trap game. It really was.
And I just looked up those stats, JP. So Trey McDuffie allowed 5 catches out of 8 targets against Cortland Sutton for 67 yards in that touchdown. So it was a really rough game for McDuffie. Najee Johnson, you got to give him credit, man. The only thing he did bad in the game was he allowed that 34-yard reception against Adam Trotman, but he led the team with 10 tackles, and he had that sack and a tackle for loss. And I think it was just in response to all the negative stuff that he's been getting, and he's playing a new position. So you got to give him credit, though, for the way he's been handling his business. So
absolutely.
It's why when people were calling for making a trade for a corner, I wasn't worried. I wasn't saying that. I mean, if you did it, cool, but I wasn't concerned about that just because I do think that, these young corners are going to be able to come in and be able to produce. This is the same team that a few years ago had 5 rookie defensive backs at a Super Bowl, and they were one of the better defenses in the NFL, and they played well against a really explosive offense and the Eagles. So it's why when people were clamoring for that, I wasn't on board with that. But to go back to the trap game thing, I mean, look, Denver's defense came to play, and that's what it was. I'm surprised Bo Nix didn't throw an interception just because I think that, he does the Bover throws, right? He has a tendency to overthrow a lot of those passes. So I'm surprised he didn't throw an interception. I think if for some god-awful reason you're a Broncos fan, I think you should be happy with what you saw out of Bo Nix.
Yeah.
It seems like the playbook has opened up a little bit more for him, right? He's taking more shots downfield. He seems to be going through his progressions a little bit more. So I think he's looking better. But I think Chiefs defense also played extremely well. They only gave up 2 scores, and they kept them out of field goal range for a lot of game. I mean, for God's sakes, they attempted a 60-yard field goal, right? Like, I think that Kansas City's defense played phenomenally. I think the bigger part of the story is the Kansas City offense and what we saw from the offense, or I guess more what we didn't see from the offense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, that was a strange game in many
Yeah.
ways when it came to the offense. Part of the problem with the offense, we all know. Hey, Will, what's up, buddy? He said I have season tickets and I was at the game. He said after the blocked field goal, I was giving high fives to even hugging a person I didn't even know. What a game! I
Hey,
hear you,
man.
Will.
It be like that at Arrowhead sometimes, Will. Hey, man. I love it, bro.
That's the power of sports, man.
It really
Absolutely.
is. It really is. But I think a lot of the problem that we had in that game was the pressures that the pressure that Denver's defensive line was able to put
Yeah.
on Mahomes. He didn't have enough time to throw the ball. He didn't have enough time to let a play progress. And that was part of the reason why our wide receivers didn't look that great. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. You gotta look at it like this too, JP, man. Like, this is the third consecutive week that we have played against a physical defensive front, man. Like, first it was the Saints, then it was the Buccaneers, and then the Broncos. Especially over the last 2 weeks, we've allowed 8 sacks in the last 2 games, man.
Yeah.
And dude, 8 sacks, bro. And then on top of that, man, in order for us to go against the Bills, they're just as physical. I think they're like top 10 in sacks this year. So it's like they need to get themselves together. And I gotta say this, man, he is doing really good this year. But after what I saw this last Sunday, and even if you hear the audio of what Mahomes said, he called out one specific guy, and I think you and I know who we're talking about, JP. And we saw that in the game where he allowed 2 sacks. And yes, I had my tweet out there. And when I say this, I don't mean I'm done. Like, I hate this guy. I don't want him on my team no more. I don't know. Maybe I hope it's motivation for him to see that he'll play better and prove me wrong. But Jawan Taylor, you gotta play better than how you playing, buddy. 2 sacks, and that last sack you allowed on Mahomes after he just said, hey, man, if you see the guy coming after me, can you let me know they're going to come after me? While everybody's thinking, oh, he's talking to the refs. No, he's talking to Jawan Taylor. After that last sack, that second one he allowed, he's on the ground like a little kid, like in timeout or like on a cot in the daycare. I'm like, bro, are you serious?
Sadly, our interior line, Joe Thuney, Creed, Humphrey, Trey Smith have allowed 0 sacks this year. Zero sacks.
I checked that on Pro Football Focus too, and that's what this says: 0 sacks. But the most pressure has came from our tackles, which are the two most important positions.
Yeah. I mean, look, Wanya Morris isn't the greatest, but he's a hell of a lot better than what people are giving him credit for. And we saw that Sunday when Kingsley came in, and then Wanya, was on the sidelines for a while getting his knee straightened out. When he came back, it was a night and day difference from Kingsley to Wanya Morris. Taylor still looked like shit.
Kingsley still looked like shit.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Don't get me started on Kingsley, man. No.
He said Trey's got to come back next season. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% he's got to come back. There's no doubt. I think they've already got that worked out, to be honest with you. I'm almost positive they do for Trey Smith to come back. But
okay.
The problem we have, look, man, I hate preaching the same fucking shit over and over again. That offensive line is a one big chain. One chain. And one guy can break that fucking link and break that chain into pieces. And Taylor's been doing that. He is a thief. He's a fucking thief. And I'm going to continue to say that until he does his shit. That motherfucker is robbing this team of $20 million a year to play like this. And I guarantee you, if you go back and look at the 8 sacks that have been allowed in the last 2 weeks, I bet 6 of them came from him.
It's both tackles. It's not just one. It's both of them. Both tackles.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not saying it's not, but I think Wanya Morris is better.
Because
he's a better player for $4 million.
Here's the thing, is that if one tackle isn't performing as well, you can assist that, right? You can do boots to the other side. You can
give him some help.
Chip with you can do all sorts of stuff when one tackle is performing poorly. But when both of them are, you're just SOL, right? Like there's not a lot you can do when both your what are you supposed to do? Patrick Mahomes has got to take the 12-step drop, like he did in the Super Bowl against the 49ers during WASP, because he's getting pressured from both sides so quickly, right?
Yep.
And the only thing he can do is step up in the pocket, make a quick throw. And this leads me to my point is that part of the problem too, and we saw this against the Broncos, is that the Kansas City wide receivers are not great against man coverage. And so what that means is that teams are more confident in saying, hey, we're going to put my guy on your guy, right? And then we're going to take our extra defenders. Instead of running zone, we're going to send an extra blitzer. And we're going to send that blitzer on the outside. Or we're going to do we're going to do a little scheme stuff, and we're going to do some stunts, and we're going to send, my defensive tackle, we're going to split him outside and try and shoot up the gap and really try and get two guys through one gap on one of the tackles. And because both your tackles are butt cheeks right now, you can do that on either side. And it's a compounding problem. And this is a problem that I don't know how you fix unless the players just get better, right?
There's only one way of fixing
there's
it.
only one way of fixing it. There's only one way of fixing it. We'll get to that in a second.
Yep.
But I think that this is a serious problem, right? This is a problem that I've been talking about for a while. We've been talking about for a while, and I think it's only going to get worse because I know that
teams are scheming for it.
Bringing in Hopkins is a big deal, but Hopkins is not the man beater that he used to be, right? He doesn't have the same explosive off the line. He is great against zone. He can read the zones a lot like Travis Kelce can. And yes, we saw that he can go up and get some of those 50-50 balls, but those are low percentage plays. You can't depend on that. You can't say every single play, hey, we're going to need you to go down the field and win. That's not a way to win. That's not a way to repeat that every single play. So you're in a situation to where you're putting a lot of stress on a part of the offense that's already very stressed, and that's not a way to be successful moving forward.
I agree. The one thing that I will say, I think we're limited in the wide receiver room, and that limits our play calling ability. So when you're thin in that area, you're going to have issues because you can't call the plays that you would love to call. Juju is coming back this Sunday, which is phenomenal for this team. We need him back. Yeah. Thank God he's coming back. Hopkins has done so much to open up Travis Kelce and even open up other wide receivers. He's opened up J. Watt. He's opened up the other tight ends. His presence alone changes the dynamic of a football game. But
absolutely,
you still have to have playmakers on the field. Juju is great against man and against zone. He's fast enough. He's good all the way around. What I love the fact that they got Kareem Hunt back in his element. What he is the number one running back in the league at doing, and that's catching out of the backfield. He is a phenomenal pass catcher. And he gained so many yards from that at 29 years old. He's still doing what he did when he was 22 years old.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt shouldn't be your leading receiver.
No, he should not. He should not.
He shouldn't.
That, like I said, it was limited.
There are two reasons why Kareem Hunt is your leading receiver for a game. He has 2 75-yard touchdown receptions, or you have a game like he did last week against the Broncos where the only thing that is effective throughout the game is dump-off passes.
But those dump-off passes were also not just because of the wide receivers, but because of the fact that Mahomes had zero time.
Yeah.
So this has to get fixed. It's going to get fixed from what I understand. Donovan Smith will probably be back with the Chiefs. If he clears,
I'm all for it.
If he passes a physical and he's able to work out and do what he needs to do, he will be back. Is he going to be back next week? Absolutely not. If he gets signed, he's going to be on the practice squad until he gets back in football shape, but he will. I am almost positive he'll be back. And from what I've told, he will be back, but he has to pass both of those. He hasn't played football in 9 months. He hasn't been on a football field in 9 months. So that's a little concerning, but he's also extremely good. I don't ever like to say anything negative about Veach because he's done so much for this team. But this is one of his fuck-up years. Not only did even the signing of Taylor was a mistake. I don't know if it's a mistake as far as signing him, but the amount of money he's being paid to be on that field as a starter is a mistake. That's number one. Not bringing back Donovan Smith This year, at the beginning of the year, knowing you have a rookie and you have Wanye Morris and Taylor that has had nothing but problems since he's been here, you should have brought him back. He should have been in the fold a long time ago, especially for the amount of money that he's going to be paid. Now,
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, I understand why he probably wasn't brought back early. It's all a money game. Because early in the season, he's going to ask for a lot more money than he is 10 weeks in. So Veach probably didn't think, okay, I can't afford to pay him $10 million a year right now, $8 million a year. But also, can you afford to have your quarterback injured? Can you afford to lose a three-peat? Can you afford to put all this pressure on your defense?
I also think that, him being healthy for all of last season was, it wasn't something to bank on coming into this year, right? And I also think that at a certain point, we don't want to turn into the Saints, right? Where all we're doing is we're bringing back old players and we're trying to sign guys past their prime, right? So I also think that just as an organization, that saying, hey, we've got Wanye Morris, we're going to draft a tackle, one of these two, has to work out, and we're going
It's
to
a
move
gamble.
forward for that.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
gamble.
what they did is the best move or the process is good, right? It's good process. Unfortunately for Kansas City, it just hasn't worked out to this point. And so now you're, trying to look back at that. And I don't think we should look back on it and say that, yeah, this was the incorrect move, because I do think they did the right thing. And I also think that both Wanye Morris and Sua Mata'ia, both still have potential in this league, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that you should, just because they're struggling now, doesn't mean that, you need to move off of them moving forward. I
No,
think both of
they
them
need
still have
time.
potential in this league.
Absolutely, they need time.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately for Kansas City, and really just the overall NFL, is that tackles take a long time to develop. And that's why you usually don't see them, quote unquote, hit their prime until their second contract. There's not a lot of tackles that come into this league that are, right away super successful. And if they are, they're taken within the top 5, top 10 of the draft. So, you get some of these guys that you can point to, but they're not the norm, right? And Kansas City will never get the opportunity to draft one of those as long as Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback.
Well, Philip, I'll let you go after. I just got to say this: Taylor's in his second contract.
I was talking Wanye Morris and Sua Mata'ia.
Oh no, I think. Look, Kingsley's got a mad amount of potential. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
He needs time to develop. They threw him into a situation that he's protecting the most valuable player in the NFL as a rookie, and in a position, in a blindside position, that is not a good place to put somebody that is brand new to the league. You just don't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you want to. That's a lot of pressure to put on that kid. A lot of pressure. I asked about it to a couple guys that I deal with, and I said, what is going on with him? Is it a mental thing? Is it a physical thing? What is it? He said himself that when he gets in the game, sometimes his mind just goes a little blank. He doesn't know which way to turn. It's like he almost forgets his development, and that's being a rookie. That's being a rookie on a Super Bowl football team, protecting the most valuable player in football. It's gonna happen.
Mental
That's why.
toughness.
That's when I say it's a mistake. That's the mistake, is putting all your eggs on a rookie to protect Patrick Mahomes. Shouldn't do that. The other mistake is not bringing in somebody or moving somebody around to help Taylor's situation, because you knew after last year he wasn't getting any better. And he didn't get any better. There's games that he plays extremely well against very weak defensive linemen or average defensive linemen. Put him up against somebody strong. If you go back and look at any slow-mo film, he's either lined up off sides, he's way too far back in the line, he's got his right foot stanced way back, and he's almost standing straight up. That's because he doesn't have the ability to bring himself forward and hold somebody long enough in a normal stance. I hate to say it like this, but he's weak. And I don't know any other way of putting it. He doesn't know how to play the position other than the way he's played it his whole career and gotten away with it. Now he's seeing what it's like to play against extremely physical guys. Like what's his face from the Bengals? That kid, that guy's insane.
Trey Hendrickson.
Look at
Max
Crosby.
Crosby. Him going against Max Crosby.
Insane,
Man.
dude. That just doesn't work out. And just as well as anybody else, who are they going to put on the weakest link on your offensive line? The strongest guy on your defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you put that pressure on anyone? Whether it's Taylor's not good enough, Kingsley's not ready, you have to fix that problem. You have to fix it. And that's where the mistake came in. Look, Veach went out. Remember the year 2021, I believe it was, that we had like 9 deep on the offensive line? Long. We had all these guys that weren't even considered playing the game, but yet they were all there. Veach went way overboard to protect Mahomes. Now he's like, well, I think he'll be okay. I know his ankle's fucked up. I know that he's under a lot of pressure, but he's really good at getting out of pressure. No, he's not. You can't get out of pressure when you got a 1/10 of a second to get out of it. He's good, but he's the best in the league at it. But you can't expect him to do it play in and play out and not have any faith at all in your tackles. And he doesn't have it, especially on Taylor. Yeah. I'm telling you now, he actually trusts Wanya Morris more than he does Taylor. I'm telling you. You mark my words. If you ask him, and he was actually blunt enough to say it, which he's not, he would say Taylor's my weak link. And he is.
He said on the highlight film, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, can you at least let me know they're going to come after me?
Yeah, no, I was laughing. I was like, yeah, man, I don't blame you. I'm like, talk that shit, Pat. Like, I don't blame him.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's got to get fixed because, look, this is what – I don't give a shit what happens. I mean, I'd love for us to go 17-0. Not going to happen most likely. But this is what fucks you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It will kill you in the playoffs because every team is different in the playoffs. We're different. Everybody we're playing is different. And who's the one team they want to knock off? Who's the one guy they want to see carted off the field? Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
This is what can kill you in the playoffs. Does anybody remember the Super Bowl against the Bucks?
What Super Bowl?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, our offensive line
wasn't a Super Bowl that year. Tom Brady just threw a Lombardi, on some boats, and they called it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, our offensive line was horrid.
A patchwork offensive line.
It was. And Mahomes ran for his life the entire game.
Yeah. He still made some spectacular throws where they would say, even though y'all lost, that was still amazing, man. Like,
It was. But you can't go into the playoffs like this. Just can't.
Yeah. But there was something I wanted to mention though about D-Hop and like what you were trying to say, Quentin. I still think it's a work in progress with the man coverage, and we already got the zone coverage because he's doing a lot in zone and he's doing in man, but he's actually leading all the wide receivers since he's joined the team against man coverage. He's like caught 5 out of 5 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown, man. Like he's really doing this thing. And this other thing you got to look at here too. Before the acquisition, Mahomes had thrown 6 touchdown passes, 8 picks with a 82.5 passer rating and averaging 231 passing yards per game. Now, after you got D-Hop, Mahomes has thrown 6 touchdown passes, only 1 interception, has a 102 passer rating, and also averaging 273 yards passing, more than what he's done in the first few games before D-Hop. And this highlights the immediate impact that D-Hop has on the offense and how he helps the entire team around him functions more effectively. Not only has he helped out Mahomes, he's also helped out Kelsey. Like Kelsey before D-Hop, he's only had like 4 to 5 catches a game and averaging 41 yards a game, no touchdowns in the first 6 games. Now after D-Hop comes, he's rediscovered his vintage form, catching 10 to 11 catches a game, catching 85 yards a game, and now scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games, including what you just saw this past Sunday, which is moved him in fourth place among tight ends and touchdown catches. So you just see that impact, man. It's just going to keep getting better. And now when Pacheco comes back and now you're going to see Juju coming back, everything's going to get good too going forward, man.
Yeah.
So I just
I
think
agree.
his presence opens up. And yes, Mahomes is going to have to deal with that pressure because when you look at Wanye, I think is the best bet going forward. And man, it makes me sad about Sua Mata'ia, but I think he'll learn from this and he'll grow, man, because he kind of reminds me a little bit more of like Donovan Smith when he was a rookie with the Buccaneers. And, you know, he had those same struggles. I think he allowed 8 sacks his rookie season. And he just go through those same things. But so when you look at both Wanye Morris and Sua Mata'ia combined as like one left tackle, they have allowed 6 sacks. Jawan Taylor has allowed 3, but he still allowed a lot of pressures. So those tackles have to work on everything, especially with Wanye, in order for him to do what he has to do. Just simply work on your assignments, knowing what you got to deal with. And just like when you had Orlando Brown Jr., you had McKinnon to help him out. And if the Chiefs could try to dial that up, especially the running backs, or let's say some of the tight ends help out in that pitching, especially helping out the tackles, because I heard that Kelsey also tried to help out Jawan Taylor. I think Sua Mata'ia really on that, just like what Jerick McKinney used to do for Orlando Brown Jr. So if we just continue to work on that going forward, everything will be fine, though. So.
And you know who a really good candidate for that is Carson Steele. He would be a great blocking running tight or blocking fullback / running back, whatever you want to call him. He'd be a good help in that position. The problem is you can't really have him out on the field all the time, especially when Pacheco's not going to play this Sunday, from what I understand. He is going to be activated, but he's just not going to play. I don't know if he's going to be activated for the game or not, but he's not playing. They're going to give him one more week, from what I understand. Now, that could change, but I think they're going to give him one more week. When he comes back, mark my words, you're going to see 2 back sets, Kareem catching out of the backfield a lot, with both of those guys on the field at the same time, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. That's a dangerous fucking situation for any other defense in the league.
Yeah.
That's going to be scary.
Yeah,
Stupid ass scary.
Very scary,
especially because you're in a situation to where you can turn Kareem Hunt into a 3rd down back and you don't know if he's running the ball or receiving the ball, because if there's one flaw in Pacheco's game, it's that he's not great at catching the ball out of the backfield, where Kareem Hunt is fantastic at catching the ball out of the backfield. Plus, with him coming back off of a significant leg injury, you know, you can sort of split some of these runs, and you can really help preserve Pacheco moving forward. So, yeah, you want to talk about one of the best dual threat, especially like a dual threat with underrated running backs. Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic. And so when Pacheco comes back, Kareem Hunt has played so well that you aren't rushing to get him back. You're going to ease him back in, and I think that's the correct move. Even when he comes back, let's say it's 2 weeks from now, you know, you'll put him out there, but you may put him out there for your first drive, right? That scripted 10 or whatever. And then really it's a Kareem game from that point on. I think that, slowly bringing Pacheco back, because of how well Kareem has done, it really lets you ease him back into the offense. You don't have to force it.
Gives you so many more options. Out of the playbook that Andy hasn't been. Look, man, me and Philip talked about this before. How long has it been since Andy is able to draw up something out of his playbook that's, you know, a Stephen King novel and use it with a 2-back set that can actually be effective with it? I don't remember the last time he could. It was Kareem Hunt and Charkandrick West at one time.
Yeah.
But I don't
think the Patriots. It's always against the most important games.
Exactly.
Especially like if it's the postseason, he'll roll out the most important, crazy magic plays. But when it comes to the most important games, like especially like the Bills one, I think he might come up with something, because you got to take this into consideration. Of course, we might not have Pacheco on this one, but it still means good news for Kareem Hunt and even a little bit Samaje Perine, because the Bills suck. They've almost allowed 5 yards per carry this season. That's like 3rd overall most yards per carry allowed in the NFL against opposing offenses. Not just that, they have allowed 10 rushes of 20 or more yards. That's tying 5th most allowed alongside with the Commanders. So there's a blueprint of how we could get to the Buffalo Bills, and whether you got to worry about Kareem or Samaje or Mahomes taking off for a run if y'all try to bring the pressure. So
Yeah, I agree. And I don't. And look, there's questions running around about, what are we going to do? We don't need this many running backs. Blah blah blah. Look, man, it at one point they were planning on trading P Ryan during the trade thing. Then when that happened to Pacheco, they hung on to him. Thank God they did, because he's been a really good situational player. Great he does catch well out of the backfield. He's a great blocker. He does get the yards when he needs to get the yards. You're going to see CEH probably go back on IR as soon as Pacheco's activated. That's what's going to happen. And that's okay. I mean, I don't look, man, I'm going to say this, and there's no slight against CEH at all. I don't think he plays next year. I think he was waiting to get through school. He's got other priorities. I just don't think he's going to play next year. I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to hang it up and go do what he really wants to do. He went to college to be a nurse. That's what he wants to do. And that's okay. He's done what he needed to do in the NFL. He needs to focus on his mental health and just get out of the game for a while.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. But you're going to see P. Ryan move forward, and I think you're going to see CEH on IR. That's just what's going to happen. They have an open slot on practice squad anyway, which Donovan Smith, if he comes through, he's going to go on the practice squad for a little bit. But then it could be CEH going there as well. I don't know. But it is what it is. We have a great running back group. Stupid, phenomenal group. And this allows Andy to open up that playbook and do things that he hasn't been able to do since 2017. And he barely was able to do it then. Now he's got two viable backs. I was going to ask both of you guys this, because this was brought up to me, and I'm wondering if it's not a thing or if it is a thing. Looking at the running style of Kareem Hunt, he runs like a track star. If you really watch him break tackles, he's very soft on his feet. He's always been this way, though. Let's not forget, this was Kareem Hunt in 2017, 2018, 2019. This has always been him. Have you noticed that somebody brought this up to me and they said, well, maybe Pacheco should learn something from Kareem instead of stomping as hard as he does, the way he runs, his running ability, or his running style, I should say, because he plants his feet in the ground so hard, killing worms 6 inches deep. Maybe he's not able to develop the play as he should and break the tackles that he should be able to. And maybe he's not picking up the amount of speed that he should be able to pick up, because he's an extremely fast guy. But he runs so hard and he plants his feet so hard in the ground compared to like a Kareem Hunt that is just like a ballerina out there. I mean, he's like a ballet dancer. He's so fucking smooth. Do you think that maybe he should learn some of that from Kareem Hunt and go, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to kill these fucking worms in the ground and just practice, play the game and let these guys break some tackles instead of running head first into people? What do you think?
I mean, it's always good that no matter who you are, to pick up on things that other players do, right? Whether it's, Patrick Mahomes, learning things from some of his backup quarterbacks over the years, right? Like, I think was it Matt Moore? He talked about how Matt Moore would come into the quarterback room and he learned from that. So, no matter who it is, you're able to learn from them. And I think that is not just a sign of respect, but it also is just being a good NFL player, like being able to learn from other people, because there's, even if they're the worst player in the NFL, there's still a reason that they're an NFL player. And so there's still something that you can pick up from them. So yeah, if he adjusts his running style to be more fluid, to maybe be a little bit more like Le'Veon Bell, right? Patient to hit the hole type guy, like Kareem Hunt does, then yeah, I think that'll just make him a better running back. And, especially with him coming off a leg injury, I don't know if he can, hit the ground as hard as he would before the leg injury. So maybe if he can learn, sort of be a little bit more smooth, and if he learns that from Kareem Hunt, then I think that that's just a guy who's being coachable and he's willing to adjust his game to what his body is capable of, and that'll only extend his NFL career.
Agreed.
I absolutely agree with you there, Quentin. Piggyback off of what you just said there too, because we all know Pacheco's acceleration, long speed stand out. Man, he has the excellent contact balance, and arm tackles ain't going to bring him down. And he poses a challenge to the defensive backs. But what's one thing that he doesn't have that Kareem has? He just has the excellent vision, especially between the tackles, especially the low center of gravity. Like Pacheco has that, but I don't think he's able to because he's more focused on running angry and hard. But I
Yeah.
think, like what you're saying, if he learns how to use his vision and know time when to use his cuts in to elude, and then also when to know when to truck when it comes. And I think that's the benefit of being around somebody like Kareem. And I think they're going to play off of each other. As a matter of fact, I really think that this could be very reminiscent of like what you saw when Aaron Rodgers won MVP in 2021 with the Packers. He did it with the help of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And I can see the same thing with the Chiefs doing. And also what you're seeing right now in today's NFL, the Lions, what they got with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I really see the Chiefs doing the same thing once Pacheco comes back to the fold. And I can't wait.
Yeah. Will said, I think the Chiefs often should run the ball more in certain parts of the game. The Broncos defense is fast. Do you think the Chiefs players are a little tired from the Bucks game? I don't know, man. I mean, sure, they're tired. It's week 10. I don't think.
Long season.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it was being tired or if it was playing down to your opponent, mentally playing down to your opponent. I don't think we've done this forever. We play a team that's 5-5, 5-6, 5-8, whatever it is, and we always tend to play down to our opponent. I don't know if they really went in with the right game plan against the Broncos. I don't know if they studied the defense well enough, because it was pretty apparent that they carved us up. I mean, I don't know if it was being tired. I don't know if it was mentally being drained. It could be a part of it. I just don't think they went in with the right mental attitude to go in there and just beat the dog shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
And again, their defense is fast. Peyton, as much as I can't stand him, is pretty good with defenses. He's got a good defensive coach. He's got a good group there. And he's taught them well. So it's hard to step into a game that you're already think you're going to win anyway, because you're the 8-0 Chiefs. Haven't lost a game, since December of 23. You're just the best thing since sliced bread, and then you're going up against a 4-5 team at the time, or 5-4 team, I should say. And then all of a sudden, they're handing you shit, and you don't know how to handle it. I think that was a big part of that game. We've done it before. I don't think we'll not do it again. When we play the Carolina Panthers, that's another trap game for us. Just telling you now, they're a trap game. You have no idea if this team, they've beat teams that they shouldn't have beaten this year. They're 3-8 right now, or 3-7, or whatever they are. They shouldn't have won any games. They suck. They're a terrible football team with a terrible owner and a terrible coach and a terrible this, and they suck. But you never know who that trap game might be. This Denver game should have sparked something in them, because, again, that was as close of a trap game as you're going to get, because they came to play and came to win, and we didn't. Just that simple. We were very, very fucking lucky. If it wasn't for Spags and Dave Taub, we wouldn't have won that game.
Exactly.
So, I believe in you make your own luck. So
I'm not saying it's luck. I think it's just fucking not doing your job. I think it just came in with a bad mindset. That's just how I feel about it. They should have never allowed fucking Bo Nix. As good as he played against us, he shouldn't have played we're the number 5 overall defense. How is he going to be able to carve us up the way he did? Unless we weren't prepared.
He looked like Drew Brees out there.
He really did. And that pisses me off. He should have never been able to carve us up the way he did.
Speaking of the game, I'm actually watching it right now as we're on live. It's on NFL Network right now.
Oh, it
They're
is?
replaying it. Yep, they're replaying
Yeah.
it.
I watched it on Coach's film, and the more I watched of it, the madder I got. Because there was just mistakes made in that game and miscues, and even Mahomes made mistakes. Even though he looked pretty good, he made mistakes. He overthrew passes. That one to Kelsey in the end zone.
Yeah, that could have been the dagger right there.
Yeah. And he really didn't have a whole lot of pressure on him at that second. He just threw it a little too early and a little too hard and a little too high. It's just the mental mistakes are killing us. It really is. And I think maybe this Denver game might have been a wake-up call. They're playing a fucking team right now that, yeah, even though they, with the Bills, they haven't really played any real tough opponents yet, and they look really good on paper. They hate us. They hate us. We have ruined every year of Josh Allen's career. At the end of every year, we run him in one way or another. The two teams I think that hate us more than any other teams in the league is the Ravens and the Bills. Because we sent their ass packing.
I think the Bengals are pretty far up there.
The Bengals are 4-6
Yeah.
though. They ain't got room to hate anybody but their fucking owner. And then their mayor. But
or Jamar Chase.
Or Jamar Chase at this point. But yeah, man, I can't physically see how we can go backwards from here because of that Broncos game. If we make mistakes in this Buffalo game, because they do hate us and they want to be the ones to knock us off more than anybody, I think, we have to play mistake-free football against them. We absolutely have to play mistake-free football. It's that simple. Everybody has to play their part.
Yeah.
This is a team that really fucking hates us. I mean, I don't know any way of saying it. So we're in for it this Sunday. I don't believe we're not. I think it's going to come down to, do I think Josh Allen's going to have 300 yards and 41? No, I don't. But I still think it's going to come down to either a 3-point game or a 7-point game. Either way. If the Chiefs play mistake-free football, they can win this game. And if you listen to anybody that's, of any stature at all, they're actually picking the Chiefs to win this game, regardless of how things
not
have went.
Vegas.
No, Vegas,
Vegas Chiefs are 1.5-point underdogs.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they are, because that's the only time Mahomes gets a hair up his ass every time he's an underdog, and I like that. He gets this crazy hair up his ass, and he goes out and plays phenomenal football. Travis Kelce plays phenomenal football when he's an underdog. The defense plays phenomenal football. That's a good thing. But analysts out there that actually know the game, even Kyle Long has us winning this game, which I was kind of surprised, but he does.
Well, the Chiefs were 2.5-point favorites before the Broncos game, but as the game went on, the money started to shift more and more to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And to now it's settled as to the Chiefs are 1.5-point underdogs. Now, I mean, this was a little bit ago, so I haven't checked the updated odds, but at least at one point the Chiefs were 1.5-point underdogs. For all I know, the Chiefs could be bigger underdogs, or the money could have flipped back to Kansas City's side. But
with the emergence of Juju coming back, that might flip some. And they automatically thought Pacheco was going to play Sunday, but I don't think he's going to. I think they're going to hold him out. So unless things change, I don't think, from what I understand, they're not going to play him. And that's okay. I think the fact that you add Juju back into the mix changes our offense completely. You open up the playbook every time you bring somebody back. Every single time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this on air, and I probably shouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be surprised, I should say, if you don't see Watson back at the end of the season by the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Come back 3-5. We need you.
That's all I'm going to say. Don't be surprised if he's not back by the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a waiting game. I know that's probably not the insight that you wanted from me, but
no, I'm just saying it. I what did he say? They said the Broncos players were crushed in the locker room.
As they should have been.
They should have been. Look, man, they played a game that they should have won.
The audio from the Broncos radio network.
Boy.
Oh, my God.
So
I heard that.
If you haven't heard that audio, well, it's all over the Twitter sphere. So yeah, just go ahead and find that because it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
There's
there's a
like
guy
there's
on
like
YouTube
10
that lost it
seconds.
too.
There's like 10 seconds of dead air, which in radio is a cardinal sin. You should
Oh,
never have dead
absolutely.
air. So
No.
the fact that they gave up 10 seconds of dead air, and then my most underrated call was the Mitch Holtis call where you hear Dane and Hughes laughing in the background. Mitch Holtis is doing his call, and then you can hear after the field goal gets blocked. Mitch Holtis goes, "It's blocked," and then there's like a half second where you can hear Dane and Hughes laughing.
He's funny, man. That
Yeah.
dude's funny. He's always been funny. He cracks me up, man. He just don't care. He'll laugh, he'll giggle, he'll make you feel stupid. I love that dude. He's funny, man. Oh God, that's good stuff. Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube. He's actually really good. He's a Broncos guy, but he's a really good dude.
Oh
You know who I'm
yeah.
talking about?
I know
Yep.
what you're
Oh,
talking about. Yeah, he's funny. He's kind of like how about those Chiefs version of the Broncos guy? Like
yeah.
he's funny.
He is. He's good. And I got to tell you, he was crushed. He didn't know what to do. He was like so excited. He was counting down the kick. And then he goes,
Come on,
"Are
come
you
on.
fucking kidding me,
35
man?
yard-
How the
Are
fuck?"
you
And he
fucking
stood up and
kidding
he's
me?
wandering around.
No!
I mean, it was hilarious, dude. It was good. But
Oh man.
you got to feel for those guys because that's a team that has struggled for so long. They haven't beaten us since 2015 in Arrowhead. And they just got their whole lives crushed.
I'm pretty
By-
sure that you ask any Chiefs fan if they feel bad, all they're gonna remember are the Elway days.
Oh,
And even though
believe me,
that
I
was
remember the
before
Elway
my
days.
time, I still understand. So, nobody feels bad. I'm surprised. I don't understand why we have Raiders week, but we don't have Donkey week because
used
I
to.
have more disdain for the Broncos than I do the Raiders. My entire life, the Raiders have been a dysfunctional, garbage joke of an organization. Whereas during my life, the Broncos have been, a legitimate, competent organization. I mean,
Yeah.
they won the West, what, like 6 years in a row? So
Yeah.
like the Broncos have been a competent organization in my lifetime. So I think that we need to introduce Donkey Week instead of Raiders Week, or at least on top of it. We need to start that.
They used to
I
have
hate
it.
the Broncos more than I hate the Raiders.
Bro, they used to put up pictures on the news of John Elway and a big fucking horse smiling and all kinds of
I
shit
remember that.
when it was
I
time for
remember
the Broncos games. Elway put us through some hell, dude. We didn't do much for him either. I'm going to say that. But he put us through some fucking hell for a lot of years.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was miserable.
There was a missed call on Mike Pennell where they held Mike Pennell, and Mike Pennell was even like, "Yo, ref, where's the call?"
I saw
at?"
that.
Dude. I'm like, what?
That happened 3 or 4 times in the game
Yeah.
that they never called it.
He
And
was
Pennell
like,
blatant. Yeah.
he was like, what?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Elway was a bitch. Nothing I think changed. Everything changed, and I was on the field for that game when at Arrowhead he was in the middle of his cadence and then just stopped. And he looked at the ref and he said, "Can you make those fans stop making so much noise? I can't hear myself. They can't hear me call the play, And the ref looked at him like, "What?" They actually came, dude, I was crying. They came on the mic and said, "Can you guys please be quiet during, He actually, I take that back. He actually asked them to flag the Chiefs because of the fans. So the ref came out and said, "Can you guys, tone it down a little bit? Let's knock down the noise." Man, it just made it worse. Elway was so mad, dude. So mad. I was crying on the sidelines. I was crying. I was hiding behind a Gatorade bottle laughing my ass off. It was the funniest shit I ever seen. Derek was laughing his ass. Everybody was laughing, man. It was probably the best time I ever had at Arrowhead. I got to tell you, it was one of the funniest things. But Elway, man, he was such a fucker. He just figured it out every time, man.
Hey, my best memory of John Elway is him handing my quarterback the Lombardi Trophy. So
Yeah, that was
Same
great.
here.
That
Yeah.
was great. Oh, that just pained him. You know it did. That just killed him inside.
Yeah.
Just killed him inside. Well, anyway, what else do we got?
that's all that I have.
You got anything else, Philip?
Well, I just want to say, guys, if you guys are around tomorrow, check out my podcast tomorrow, War Room with PMAC, presented by Chiefs Focus. It'll be my 20th episode, and me and Thiz will be talking about similar what you guys talking about tonight, and I'll be breaking down some news. Also, my 3 standouts from what happened on Sunday in that crazy win, and last but not least, 3 keys to victory against the Bills, and a few things that I'm gonna add to a thing that could help us out. Like, for example, I'll just give a hint tomorrow. We could actually beat the Bills if we look at their kickoff coverage unit. They suck. You thought like you saw McCole Hardman was doing something against the Broncos last week. If I'm McCole or even Carson Steele, if I'm Dave Tobe, I'm trying to dial up something. We need to run it down their throats because they've allowed the 4th most kickoff return yards in the NFL this year. They suck in covering kickoff returns. So those are little examples of things I'll be giving tomorrow on my show. So be able to check it out. And I thank you because, JP asked me about 2 hours ago before I jumped on if I would want to come on. And, I thought, why not? And I'll do the show tomorrow and I got other things to do. So thank you, JP.
Absolutely. Hey,
thank you, Quentin, for having me on.
No problem, dude. Always happy to have you here. Hey, let's give real quick. McCole Hardman channeled his inner Dante Hall in that game, and
really
I got to give him. He tried so hard.
He tried to channel his inner Devin Hester.
Yeah, there you go.
109-yard return, missed field goal return for a touchdown against the Giants. And Dave Tobe was his special teams coach.
That's right. I got to tell you, man, McCole has really found his rhythm, and I'm happy he has. He needed it. He's grounded. His kid's really helping him out being grounded, and I'm happy for him, man. So we just got to keep it going, man. Now with Juju coming back, we're going to see a different football team. It'll just progressively get better, I think. The more players that continue to return, the more we're going to develop as a team. And there's no better time. There's no better time to bring all these guys back between now and playoff time. Bring them all back. Because I'm almost positive Brown's going to be back by the playoffs. From what I hear, December 25th. So let's just be prepared, man, because it's just going to get better.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we will talk to you guys again on Thursday, give you guys some game predictions, score predictions, and any other news that we may hear. Thanks for joining. Peace out, everybody.
See you.